Hey guys, today we are looking at some basic concepts of simple interest and compound interest. The basic difference between simple interest and compound interest is that in simple interest, interest is always calculated on the principal amount. What do you mean by principal amount? The amount being invested initially. Whereas in compound interest, you will calculate interest on interest. Compound interest is interest being calculated on interest. This is the basic difference between simple interest and compound interest. Now let me elaborate more on this difference. Let 100 rupees be the principal amount invested somewhere at 10% per annum rate of interest. Now let's calculate simple interest and compound interest separately for this 100 rupees. For the first year, interest under simple interest will be 10 rupees, just 10% of 100. And for compound interest also for the first year, again 10 rupees, there won't be any difference between the interest being given. Here there is an assumption, interest being compounded annually. So what do you mean by interest being compounded annually? Interest application is done once a year, that's all. So for the first year, there's no difference. Second year, simpler interest will be again 10 rupees because always you calculate interest on the initial sum or principal, which is 100 rupees. Whereas in compound interest, while calculating interest for the second year, you take this 10 rupees that's been accrued to the principal amount at the end of the first year. So the total principal amount will be 110, not 100 rupees. Then you calculate interest 10% on this and that works out to 11 rupees. So this is the way interest is being calculated for the second year under compound interest. Again for the third year, here it will be 10 rupees. Here it will be something more than 11 rupees because we have already paid 10 rupees and 11 rupees for the first 2 years. So total sum is 21 rupees. That 21 gets added to the 100 rupees initial sum. So 121 will be the principal amount taken for interest calculation for the third year under compound interest. Take 10% of that. That comes to 12.1. So what do you observe? Simple interest will be the same throughout for all the years, whereas compound interest gets bigger and bigger because of interest being applied on the interest already given. Whereas in simple interest, interest is always calculated on the initial sum or principal amount. That is the essential difference between simple interest and compound interest. I hope you have understood clearly the difference. Now there is something else I would like to show you here, which is useful in working out complicated problems. Now look at this. You can call it interest for the first year. Let me denote it by say CI1. This is interest for the second year. This is interest. See, I'm just using some symbols. CI3 denotes interest for the third year. 2 means second year. When I say third year, it's only for the third year alone. See, there is a difference between interest for 3 years and interest for third year. Interest for 3 years means what? This plus this plus this. Total interest. Whereas interest for third year means this part alone. Now, you take the difference between these two, which is 11 rupees minus 10 rupees. That's 1, as you can see. The difference between second year and first year compound interest is 1 rupee. Or below this, let me write CI2. This is second year interest. This is first year interest. Now this 1 rupee additionally you get because you are applying interest on the 10 rupees already accrued at the rate of 10. This 10 is the rate of interest. This 10 is the interest already applied. You can write this 10 is CI1, and this rate in general rate of interest. I'm trying to generalize a formula for you, so let me use R here. Now you take the second year and third year. What do you see there? Third year interest is 12.1 and the second year interest is 11. Look at the difference. The difference is 1.1. Rather, you're getting for third year 1.1 more than what you got for the second year. Now this 1.1 is the interest applied on 11 rupees. 11 rupees is what? Interest for second year. Now this is third year. See, this is second year. And that's equal to, look at this 11, that is CI2 into this 10 is rate of interest. When you take the difference between interest for 2 successive years, that will be equal to the interest applied for the just previous year into rate of interest. That is R by 100. So you can generalize this. If you take interest for nth year, this will be the interest for the just previous year. That will be equal to CI n minus 1 into R by 100. Okay. This is the general result, which will be very useful when handling complicated problems. Keep in mind this point. By the way, there are 2 simple results on the calculation of simple interest and compound interest, which you're already familiar with. I have not gone through that. Okay, let me write that. Simple interest. If you are investing P amount somewhere, which we call principal, for n number of years at the rate of R% per annum, PNR by 100 is the formula to find out simple interest. Similarly, how do you find out compound interest? P denotes principal, N is the number of years, R is the rate of interest. Compound interest after n number of years will be P into 1 plus R by 100, the whole raised to n. By the way, this gives you directly the total amount you receive. So to get interest portion alone, remove the principal amount. This will give you the compound interest. Now, if you want to find out the total amount you receive at the end of n number of years in simple interest, what do? See, total amount generally denoted by A. This A stands for what? The amount you receive after n number of years. Certainly, you will get the principal amount back. This is your money you had invested, you should get it back. Plus, you get interest accrued, which is given by this. So, this is the total amount you receive under simple interest after n number of years. Similarly, for compound interest, the total amount you receive is, you just remove this because this formula directly gives you not the compound interest, it gives you the total amount you receive on P principal at the rate of R% per annum after n number of years. Here there is one assumption, interest is being compounded annually, which means interest is applied once a year. You can apply interest once a year, once in 6 months, once in 3 months, even once in a month. So there are various ways of compounding interest. Accordingly, the formula has to be slightly modified, which I will show you. As I have shown you, this is the formula to find out total amount under compound interest on a certain sum P at the rate of R% per annum after n number of years. As I said, there is an assumption here. The assumption is compounding of interest is done annually. Annually means you apply interest once every year. Now there are other ways also of compounding the interest. You can do it half yearly, which means interest will be done twice a year. In that case, how do you change the basic formula? All you have to do is you reduce the rate to half and double the interest period, half yearly compounding. Now, if you're doing it quarterly, rate will be reduced to 1/4 and period will be multiplied by 4, because as you know there are 4 quarters in a year. So for 1 year you will be applying interest 4 times. That's why the period is getting multiplied by 4. And there's a reason for a rate of interest to get reduced to 1/4. Monthly means this is the way you make the changes. Now let me show you how this change is done. From annually, when you come to half yearly, I told you interest is getting reduced by half and the period is getting doubled. Take 100 rupees as the principal sum. Let 10% per annum be the rate of interest to be applied. What will be compound interest for the first half year? It will be 100 into 10 into period only half year. That means 1/2 into 100. PNR by 100. Now look at this. There is a 2 coming here. What is the net effect? The rate is getting reduced to half. That's why I'm writing 2 here. And this one working out 5 rupees you get. Now compound interest for the next half year, this 5 gets added to 100. So principal amount will be 105. Again 10%, 1/2. 1/2 because half year means 1/2. And this will be working out to 5.25. So compound interest for the first 1 year, five plus 5.25, which is 10.25. So in yearly compounding, you would have got only 10 rupees. In half yearly compounding, you are getting 10.25. That is the change in the amount you get. But if you look at this thing, we have worked out twice. And that is the reason for period getting doubled here. And again, in each time, rate is getting reduced to half. That's why R/2. Extending the same logic to quarterly and monthly, you will be able to find out why we are putting 4 and 12 and why the period is getting multiplied by 4 in quarterly case and the period is getting multiplied by 12 in the monthly case. So these are the changes to be made when they change the way the principal amount is getting compounded. Or rather, when the compounding changes, this is the way you have to tweak the basic result for compound interest. If there is anything you are unable to follow in the discussion of these basic concepts, raise it in the comment section. I will address it there. I'll be putting out one more video with a few problems worked out, explaining the basic concepts. Bye for now.